trouble is, we just never know exactly when it is we're being most effective as leaders. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. So what is a leader? A leader is someone who can persuade others to a course of action. And we're all leaders in some aspect of our life, either at home, or at work, or at school, or in Toastmasters. And we lead by what we say and what we do. So this morning I'd like to concentrate on just two areas of our leadership, at home as parents and as Toastmasters. As parents, we know that our kids studiously ignore this wealth of information and advice that we dish out every day. Now, they may not listen to what we say, but they sure watch what we do. Just as an example, let's say that you're out shopping, you've got your youngster with you, you buy something, and when you pay for it, the cashier mistakenly gives you an extra $20 bill. This is a leadership moment. Now, you can either hand that bill back and say, oh, I think this really belongs to you, you made a mistake here. Or you could quietly pocket the 20, and as you walk away, say to your youngster, that's the easiest 20 bucks I ever made. Whichever course of action you take, that youngster is going to do a mental head snap as they come to realize that in a situation like this is what I should do. So, you have persuaded them to a course of action, maybe a lifetime course of action. So we just never know exactly when it is that we're being most effective as leaders. Toastmasters. Several years ago, I helped to set up a Toastmaster club inside the Maryland State Prison. Now, prison clubs have a slightly different approach to Toastmaster principles than what we do. And it starts with the icebreaker, our first speech. A prison icebreaker is unlike anything you have. And I think of one that comes to mind is this guy was doing his icebreaker and talking about the occupational hazards of the job he had that landed him in the slammer. And he was saying, so you think stuffing a floppy dead body in the trunk of a car is hard? You haven't tried to stuff a live body in the trunk. So after we had set up this prison club, a few weeks after that, we decided to invite Craig Valentine to come and give a talk. Craig Valentine was a Toastmaster member there in Baltimore. Craig Valentine was the Toastmaster 1999 World Champion of Public Speaking. And after he became that world champion, he went on to a very successful career as a motivational speaker and as a trainer. Now, before he got that award, he was in Baltimore. He had some sort of job where he came in contact with prisoners. So he knew their lingo. He knew what made them tick. Craig came in and gave a talk that blew these guys away. So the following week, we have another prison icebreaker. And he started off to tell a story. There was this young man who was driving a car, and he got pulled over by a Maryland State Trooper. It was for some minor infraction. The taillight was out. The trooper came up, asked for his driver's license and registration. So he handed both over, and the trooper went back to the cruiser to write up this ticket. The young man realized he was in serious trouble. Number one, the registration was not going to match the license plates on his car. Number two, the car he was driving really wasn't his. And third, he had a concealed weapon, which was a violation of his parole and probation. And he knew that as soon as this cop put all this together, he was going to have a serious problem. So his solution to it was to simply jump up and run away. Now, he'd been in a similar situation before, and it worked. So off he went. Jumped out of the car and ran off. The cop jumped out of his cruiser and shouted, "Stop or I'll shoot!" Well, the young man didn't, and the cop did. So at the trial, testimony was the cop had shot this guy in the back. The trooper testified this was an armed and dangerous felon trying to escape. The young man got 5 to 7 years. At this point, he said, So ever since I've been in here, my goal has been to do my time, to get out and find that cop. When I find him, I'm going to shoot him. But before I shoot him, I'm going to line up his wife and his 2 kids and shoot them, and then I'm going to shoot him. That's been my goal ever since I got in here. That was my goal until I heard Craig Valentine talk last week. And Craig said, no one has ever died from a snake bite. No one has ever died from a snake bite. He said, it's not the snake bite that kills you. It's that poison coursing through your system that kills you. And I knew right then I had this poison coursing through my system, that unless I did something about it, it was going to kill me. So now my goal is to get out here and find that cop and to thank him for what he did. If he hadn't arrested me and put me away, the track I was on, I'd be dead by this time. Craig Valentine came in and gave that talk. All he was going to do was try to persuade these guys to another course of action, to a better life. He had no idea that there were going to be lives hanging in the balance as a result. As Toastmasters, we have access to the same tools and opportunities that Craig Valentine has as a speaker and a leader. As parents, we know our actions speak louder than words. And what we do persuades our kids to a course of action whether we intended or not. The only trouble is, we never know exactly when it is we're being most effective